Welcome into Between the Bylines. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
We've gotten a lot of good feedback on your last speech. And I just wanted to know, do you have, I mean, we're talking NFC North. It's your team, it's your division. Mm-hmm. Do you have a speech for us prepared?
I stay up at night thinking about what I can say about my team. Mm-hmm. My team is the Vikings, and they're my team. I like to watch them play sometimes. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest, a lot of times I don't like watching them play. Yeah. Because of a man named Kirk Cousins. He keeps me up at night. I'm terrified of him and putting my hopes and dreams of Vikings doing well in him. I don't like him.
Yeah, if I had an applause button, I would give it to you. So we'll do this one. Oh, that's not right. That might have been right, actually. That might have been right.
That's ass.
Yeah, but I don't
have a meaningful one.
No, I thought that was better than anything.
The best part is I've been told my flow.
Yeah.
Is nice.
Yeah. No, it was smooth. All right, we're talking NFC North, getting into the very end of this round of videos, which has been a lot of fun to do. Just talk a little bit of fantasy, just getting back into the flow of things, talking some football here or there. Always fun. I guess, do we want to do this the way we've been doing all of them, best to worst or worst to best?
Worst to best, and
who's worse? Who's the worst team in? Because I think we're going to disagree. The Bears. The Bears. Okay, well, we don't disagree on that again. All right, okay, cool. Yeah, the Bears are definitely worse.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I want to bite a fucking kneecap or do something to a leg. I don't know how it works.
Did you watch the Hard Knocks thing where he does this first speech?
Some of it.
The coach does the speech, right? Obviously a great leader or whatever, and it was a good speech, I guess. But like the amount of mixed metaphors and like weirdness of the speech, and it was just kind of like it took like I'm like key demographic for like an uplifting speech, and I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about?
Yeah, Dan Campbell would have me set my hair on fire and go to war, but I sure as fuck won't know what I'm fighting for. I'll be front lines screaming my head off, but being like. Watching third person mode, like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm hype about it. Yeah,
fuck it, let's kill that guy.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever you said was right.
Our coaches are fucking fighting. I guess I'll fight too. I don't know.
He just reminds me of one of those old heads who just always, like you ask him, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, hanging like a loose tooth," or whatever the fuck. Just some weird analogy that makes me go, "What?" Like what?
Hanging like a loose tooth.
Hotter than two mice fucking in the same sock. I don't know what you just said, but it's right. Like Dan Campbell he's a fucking character, man.
Dude. And
I want to play football for him.
Yeah.
I want
to play football.
That's why when he said I want to eat a kneecap, it's like keep it but dissect it. Yeah. Like what do you do there? I don't know. It's hard having your coach being weirder than me. Yeah. I'm a weird motherfucker. Like It's uncomfortable.
There's no way we can't just talk about the Lions then. We can't.
No, I guess, okay, scratch the worst, the first thing. Talk about funny, it's the Detroit Lions, and their Hard Knocks was immaculate. They did a good job watching it, yeah. You tell me years ago that the Lions are on Hard Knocks, and
I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, I'm going to go walk out on I-40 probably, and that's...
It's because of a bad Hard Knocks.
I put a lot of time in TV. Okay. I invested.
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, I agree.
Point being is
if the next episode doesn't suck, I'm shaving my head. I swear to God.
It's not walking out on I-40 bad, though. I tell you that. It was a good show, though. They had a lot of characters, a lot of personality. Jamal Williams is a very, very good vocal leader in that locker room. Yeah. No, but I hope he's a good person.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Could be.
I don't want to speak on that because we've been wrong before.
Yeah. We used to love Deshaun Watson. I mean,
we still might off air. We just can't say that on camera. I was kidding. It was a joke.
No, I just wanted to be sure that you love Deshaun Watson and I hate him. I'm not putting
my name on that.
No, you're a big fan of what he does off the field, right? No. Okay, we're
strictly on the field.
Okay. This got off the rails. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, Lions.
All right, Lions, team that plays football.
They're good.
They are good. Look, let's
good.
Let's go. We're gonna go a different route. Their draft was awesome. Aiden Hutchinson and Jameson Williams. I don't remember who. God, they traded up with some dumbass team that like got so little to. I mean, I can't. What team did they trade up for with? I don't. Do you remember?
Bro, you just brought out so much hatred. That I'll be honest, I forgot about it. Can we do a small aside?
Yeah.
Our new GM, I'm a Vikings fan. If you don't know me, I'm sorry I'm wearing the Lions jersey.
They traded up with the Vikings, just to be clear.
Our new GM decided it would be, just a good idea, instead of looking at the teams in our division as enemies, to say, you get a franchise wide receiver, you get a franchise wide receiver, and we get nothing in fucking return.
Yeah.
But maybe a 4th-round linebacker or something.
Yeah.
I think it was a horrible move. I was so confused on draft day. There's so many things I would rather do than have to watch that draft again. It was really, really bad. I'd rather sign up for the ACT and just go sit down and take it again. There's so many things.
Yeah.
It was just bad. How can you give away a Jameson Williams to an in-division rival like that? How can you give a Christian Watson to Aaron Rodgers like that? And thank God Aaron Rodgers does what he does and we'll just ignore him because he's a rookie. But if it wasn't for that, it's just like, what are we doing, man? Lions, you knocked it out of the park, though. I think it was trade of the night. I think you hit a home run with it. And honestly, fantasy-wise, I am shocked to see Jameson Williams go as low as he does.
Yeah.
Maybe it's got to be because of the injury.
Well, yeah, 100%.
Health intact, they said he was breaking the 40 record.
12th overall for a guy who was injured, who was probably going to be the number 1 wide receiver if it wasn't for injury. Yeah, I think a good value for a team that knows they're not winning a Super Bowl this year anyway. Like, why not go get really,
they were
arguably got
a lot of games, though.
Yeah, arguably got 2 of the top 5 players in the draft. Realistically, like, genuinely, if you just look at talent on the field, like, there's people that would argue Jameson Williams was in that conversation. Got both of them. Got 2 of them.
I would.
Great player. Great player. Great draft. Excited to see him. Unfortunately, probably won't see him until midseason. But he's a guy that, like, if you're in a deep league, yeah, he's a stasher candidate in my opinion.
And I like how they have done this rebuild. They really stuck to the bones of this team. And where lack thereof early on, they decided to forego the quarterback. They took on a Jared Goff who was just good enough to, I know he's a bottom tier quarterback, but yes, he can run a semi-effective offense. We saw that in Sean McVay.
Absolutely.
And he can do that with pieces around him. Now they have a very, very good offensive line. They were able to convince their other tackle, was it Frank Ragnow, to stay? No, I might have my names wrong. But whenever they drafted Panay, there was rumors that they were going to have to move their tackles around, and their tackle wanted out at the time.
Okay.
They were able to talk him into bumping over to left and staying where it was. So they're able to keep him. When they were going to have to trade away a franchise tackle, they have him. So now that they did it on the defensive line now with a lot of young names. I think this, they've missed on some of the secondary picks in the draft recently, and Okudah, I don't think he's going to amount to much right now. But at the end of the day, this is a team with a lot of fight, a lot of grit, and I do believe that they believe in their coach and their system, and it's going to take them somewhere.
Just looking at
I'm happy for them.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see. I'm excited for
Frank Ragnow.
Ragnow. Okay, cool. I was gonna say I didn't know that story. So that was a good catch by you.
Taylor Decker. Actually.
Ragnow is the center.
Is the center on the. He's a good offensive lineman though.
Okay.
It was Taylor Decker that they had to talk into bumping out because instead of the trade. Regardless, it's a damn good move. I mean.
Lions low-key have a good offensive line.
They really do.
Not a lot of bad teams with a good offensive line. The Lions are arguably one of them.
I know football, but I don't in-depth know every single guy. If I can name 3 out of your 5 linemen, I'd say you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Let's get to the fantasy side of the Lions. Where do you want to be? What do you like about the Detroit Lions fantasy-wise? It's a different conversation a little bit because there's so much uplifting things when you just talk about the team as a whole. But then when you get to fantasy, you're like, oh, I don't really love any of their pieces.
Yeah, man, I feel like some people out there really do, though. I've seen so much about Deandre Swift.
Yeah, I'm down on him. Personally, I am.
God, I wish we could disagree.
Okay. I love him. You know what? Deandre Swift's the best player of all time.
I can be devil's advocate here. I think that he's going to be the workhorse back there. Is there not a reason to want that
Jamal
value
Williams. There? Jamal Williams is going to cut in, I'll say 35% of the touches.
I think if you demand 60, I think that's workhorse numbers.
Yeah, but DeAndre, I'm thinking he probably gets 45, 50, and then you sprinkle in whoever else. They're all along the way.
What about Hawkinson? Always a value.
Gotta love it, TJ. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think he's being a little, and I say maybe a round overdrafted. I've seen guys put him in the same realm, right outside Kyle Pitts. And the thing is, I have no doubt in the ability. I do think tight end, as I've said in other videos, is a touchdown-dependent thing, and the Lions just unfortunately have not scored a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, he's one of those guys getting drafted in like that no man's land for like you never draft a tight end in the 5th or 6th round. You just don't. Realistically, you don't do it because like you can get almost as much value.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can get almost as much value out of a Zach Ertz in the 9th or a Pat Freiermuth or Mike Gesicki in the 10th or 11th. Like there's just not a big enough difference versus like the fantasy value of who you can get from wide receiver, running back in those rounds versus what you can get in the 9th or 10th.
So that's why I brought up his name.
Yeah.
I'm really big on Amon-Ra. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've kind of gone to bat for him a few times, saying that I do think he is a very, very elite route runner, and if he can polish up some other aspects of his game, I don't think it's going to be wide receiver 1 numbers, but that's not where he's getting drafted. I think you can take him and be able to plug and play matchup dependent and get some good flex points.
I have a borderline hot take. I think DJ Shark.
I knew it was going to be DJ Shark. You love him.
Been a fan of DJ. Like I liked him coming out. I was very excited when he had his come up in Jacksonville. Last year he was hurt and on a terrible team. Actually, the worst team in football.
With the worst coach that we have ever seen.
And everyone just shit on him. Like now he's in Detroit. It's a 1 year, $10 million. He's on a prove-it deal for sure. But 1 year, $10 million to possibly be the wide receiver 1. And I know he's not the long-term answer in Detroit, so that's why like he's not getting the buzz as an Amon-Ra, who's a second-year guy, and then obviously Jameson Williams coming eventually into this offense. I think DJ Shark, if healthy, I think he could. I think he has in the range of outcomes 1,000-yard season. I don't think it's crazy. Like if he ends up with 1,000 at the end of the year, I'm going to sit here and say, it'll probably be me who got great value on him because I'm a little bit higher than it seems like most people. And I don't think that's crazy. Now, could he have 45 for 500 yards, or like 45 catches for 500 yards, and be not a huge impact in fantasy? Absolutely. That's there's real bust potential there from a fantasy perspective. But what you're paying just isn't that much.
That's why I'd be more obligated to go Amon-Ra in a PPR, which I feel like that's the standard at this point.
Yeah.
He's a high reception guy, very good possession. I think that you're going to have to look at it from that aspect and think that this is a low touchdown team, probably getting 20 through the air on the year.
Give me 25.
I get that. I could see that.
You know what? No. 26.
I saw the guys on one of the NFL crews doing their records and stuff, the way that they were putting it, and two out of the 5 had the Lions coming in second.
In this division?
In this division.
Interesting. So down on Vikings, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Down on Vikings with first-year head coach kind of sputtering, not really getting the defense rolling.
Yeah.
They had the Lions hitting 8-9 wins, though.
Interesting. And I think that's their ceiling, but that's an interesting take. I do think, man, this is the year for them to make the jump. I mean, it really is, and it's not.
I want to see a jump.
You can sit here and say it's crazy,
system, but I don't. I would hate to. It's hard because I'm a Vikings fan, so I don't want to see a team in my division find the right piece, find the right guy. But looking at it from what would be good for them would be about 4 or 5. But there's so many times where you can draw the line and say, we could have won that game. We could have been a 9-10 win football team if blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But you still get the good quarterback because this is going to be a good quarterback class coming out, supposedly, in a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young. Don't play yourself out of that. There's a chance
there's always a trade-up. There's always a trade-up opportunity. I'm high enough on this team to say, I don't think they're not going to be in position to draft in the top 5. I don't think. I'll put it that way. I definitely think there's going to be 5 to 9 teams worse than them for sure. Yeah. I would say that pretty confidently. Let's move on to one of the teams I think is going to be worse in their own division, the Chicago Bears. So I in the draft process.
Not an Eberflus guy.
Not an Eberflus guy. Man, it's tough, man.
Such a weird hire.
Eberflus. It's tough because first of all, I just Justin Fields is a guy I mentioned last pod where I was talking about how Drew Lock is one of the bigger busts of my quarterback rankings because he was a guy I really liked. We saw opportunity and he failed ultimately, and if it doesn't work out in Seattle, true bust. Justin Fields is a guy I wasn't super high on, to be perfectly honest, but I don't get to say I won if he doesn't work out in Chicago. He has nothing around him.
And that's what I was afraid of where you were going to say that, because it's we got to see such a small scope of what he could do last year because
and realistically, like he wasn't bad.
He was ass.
I would sit here and say like if you looked at how he played, like he wasn't bad. Like there were definitely some rookie moments here or there. I'm not gonna sit here and say I watched all 17 Chicago Bears games. I didn't.
I had to watch Andy Dalton on Thanksgiving though.
Yeah, but I watched enough. I watched enough of Justin Fields to say, okay, like this could go either way at this point. Like there was like I wasn't convinced or I wasn't convinced either way really. But man, is it scary to say, man, Darnell Mooney is your number 1 wide receiver. Your number 2 might be Velus Jones out of UT that you drafted in the 3rd round. Maybe, Equinox St. Brown, who I think was like a 6th round pick to the Packers a while back.
Amon-Ra's older brother.
Yeah, exactly. But not his talented older brother, to be clear. No. N'Keal Harry, who has injury issue again, shocker. I like David Montgomery. I really like Khalil Herbert, who came in when Montgomery was hurt.
A lot of good things about Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, I think Herbert probably takes a big chunk out of Montgomery's workload. I really believe that. I think Herbert he proved himself last year in a tough spot that he could play. So like I'm excited for him from a fantasy perspective. He's really the only player I'm looking at.
I like some
Cole
of the
Kmet,
weapons. I like Cole Kmet late for tight end. I've always liked Kmet. I think he's due for a big jump. I hope that this offense can see an uptick in production just because it was so bad and ugly to watch last year. They were just so far behind what the average NFL offense was supposed to run. They were committed to running the football, but at times when it was almost a negative circumstance, they would still do it over and over and just punish themselves and put Justin Fields in a position to where he had to use his arm in ways that other quarterbacks wouldn't be able to do that and succeed. With these weapons too, in a vacuum, I like Darnell Mooney. But when you think that he has to be your wide receiver 1, and year in, year out, I feel like Darnell Mooney is the fantasy must-have. Everyone's talking about it, and I'm kind of on the sidelines going, I just got to wait to see it type of thing. You go get Velus Jones, who was extremely underrated out of UT. No one was really thinking that his name would be called anywhere near this realm, and to have this workload that he's going to have. I mean, he's supposed to be a guy who's going to get you 750 yards now. I feel like that's pretty daunting for him to have to step into right away whenever
Yeah, well,
it's just
in
college.
Yeah, huge question mark, and then you have the Chiefs' 4th or 5th wide receiver any given weekend, Byron Pringle, who's like hung onto the back of that roster for years. Yeah, and now he's with the Bears. It is sad to see not a whole lot of movement. It seems like they got worse this past year. Roquan Smith wants out. I mean, a defense that like really was winning them games last year. Who traded Khalil hurts their defense. I mean, yeah, they got worse. If they're drafting 1st overall, I think nobody's gonna be surprised, and right?
No, I wouldn't be. No, I would not be surprised. And Eberflus, assuming has a leash to be able to afford that in a way. Right now, I would say with him coming in, he wants to figure out who wants to play for him. Yeah, who has that high motor, who's going to be there and buy into it and keep going.
Man, let's talk about the pieces they lost. Khalil Mack gone, Allen Robinson gone, Eddie Goldman and Nakeem Hicks, both interior defensive linemen, both good, gone. Lost their right guard to the Steelers, James Daniels, which isn't the biggest name, but still a loss. I mean, name after name.
What was the thing on the Bears that you could at least count on? Was a hard-hitting thumper of a defense that could keep you in games. They'd be liable to win a game. I mean, I can't tell you how many games I had to watch where the Bears had a chance 17-13. Yeah. They just couldn't get it done.
Absolutely.
But they were there.
And that's not even to mention, I mean, they brought in Justin Jones to replace one of those D linemen. Byron Pringle was their next biggest acquisition in free agency, so didn't do a lot in free agency. Like, that's not a lot. Didn't have a 1st round pick this year because of the trade up for Justin Fields. Got a corner and safety in the 2nd round. We mentioned Velus Jones in the 3rd, but I mean, just did absolutely nothing. And Roquan Smith wants out now. Like, what do we have our head? What can we? I hate that we're shitting on the Bears, but like, what can we hang our hat on here?
No, it's tough to get going though because they have some of the most cap room that's expendable out there, and yet they're kind of dragging their feet on paying their star linebacker right now, who I think could be a core piece to what you want to get going in the future. You don't want to let him walk just to be able to go draft a Roquan. I struggle with understanding that thought process. It's like we have this already developed star stud who's 24, 25 years old. Or we can take this 2nd round pick and hope he becomes this 24-year-old star stud line. It's just, you already have it.
In a situation where you can afford it, first of all, and second of all, like, he deserves to break the market. Roquan Smith is a top 5 inside linebacker in the league. The highest paid inside linebackers sitting at like $19 million right now per year. And that's a shit ton of money, but like in general, the highest paid linebacker only makes $19 million. That's kind of crazy.
I just think you need an identity.
And just to be clear, the 10th highest paid linebacker was drafted in the 4th round of Roquan Smith's draft, and it's Jesse Jewell out of for the Denver Broncos.
Jesse Jewell, yeah.
He makes $5.5 million. That's the 10th highest paid linebacker on a per year basis. So it just tells you like the linebacker market deserves to be broken up, and Roquan Smith deserves to get paid. And it's not like the Chicago Bears don't have it. It's not like they have a young quarterback. Assuming, realistically, probably going to happen for the next couple of years. That's a huge piece of your cap that you don't have to pay. Yeah. So I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't have anything positive to say beyond that.
Record prediction.
Under whatever the line is under. I'll look up the line right now, but I would say
I'd put it at 5.5, and I would take if it's 5.5, I'll take the under. Like the second we get off this pod, 5.5.
Yeah, smash.
Under's plus money.
Under is plus money on the Chicago Bears, dude. Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, I have a gambling problem.
Yeah.
But this isn't it.
I'm putting $100 on that.
I'll take $100 on that.
Yeah, I don't think the Bears win 6 games.
They're going to be atrocious.
Yeah, I don't see the Bears win 6 games. That just
we're going to come back to this and replay it later. But
100%. We'll feel bad either way. We'll feel bad if they lose.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's transition.
Now we get to we're going to have a really clean transition here. What next?
My Minnesota Vikings. It's time for that.
Vikings. All right. Kirk Cousins.
I'm excited.
Let's hear it.
I'm excited.
For the last year of Kirk Cousins?
Not necessarily. I guess I kind of need to come clean in certain areas. It's fun to use him as the scapegoat and shit on him. And I do think
y'all are bad.
I do think he's a goober. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback. I do think that he is capable of leading a top offense in the NFL, though, and we have the weapons to do that. We have an offensive line that hasn't been ready to do that for a long time now. But I'll tell you what system we finally have that doesn't put the key focus on having good tackles and good offensive protection. We're spreading the ball out. We are fast-paced. I've seen Justin Jefferson, he tweeted out today, actually. He said, damn, I see how Cooper Kupp did what he did whenever he was in this offense, how he was able to get so open. They said that it's easier, it's more fun to be in. It's exciting because we have been stuck in old school Mike Zimmer, hard head, we're going to smack you but we didn't have guys who could smack you football. I'm excited for the future. I wish that our draft would have gone differently. I disagree with us going and trading down and taking Lewis Seen, who's a hard-hitting safety, when we could have taken Kyle Hamilton, who's a hard-hitting safety. But
I will say I loved your second-round pick, Andrew Booth, right? In the second?
Yeah, but we were both very high on Booth. Yeah. I'm okay with taking the corner there. Primarily, we have struggled with finding a cornerback out of Clemson. I don't know why we always go there.
Struggle with finding a cornerback.
Yeah, you're right. We struggle at that. We have Danielle Hunter, though. We were able to get Za'Darius, I believe, it was Za'Darius, over from the Packers. I think that it's a wildly underrated signing. We lost Anthony Barr, still have Eric Kendricks. Harrison Smith's running it up top, going to be doing his thing. I'm here for it. And in camp, Cam Dantzler's had a coming out party of his own.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic.
I want 10 wins.
I'm cautiously optimistic. 10 wins.
I want 10 wins in playoffs.
Yeah, 10 wins seems attainable, right? I mean, you should win 4 in your division. Realistically, you're the better team than the other 2. You have more talent. There's a clear and obvious way that this offense runs through. The fantasy conversation is really nice and easy because it's like, okay, yeah, Dalvin Cook going to be really good. And I think we can
support all those weapons.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of other teams we're getting scared of.
Absolutely. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, both, top picks in their position. Adam Thielen is probably a value, honestly, in a changed offense that realistically could be a lot better. Alexander Madison is a high value handcuff out there. And it's nice because it's like once you get out of those names, there's nobody else. So from a fantasy perspective, it's perfect.
Yes. And Irv Smith is a good late tight end.
And, Kirk Cousins can throw for 5,000 yards. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm saying he can.
Yes.
I'm saying he can make every throw in the book. He's not.
The problem with Kirk there isn't in a fantasy aspect. It's knowing that he will whoop your ass on a Sunday noon game. Yeah. But when you get to the Monday night game where both teams are going for first place in the division, he's at, what is it now, 0-11 in marquee spotlight games.
Yeah.
It's a hard record to get over. It's really tough. If you don't have that clutch factor, I don't know how that's built in your DNA, but he doesn't.
Line is set at 9.5. Oh, plus money on the over. It looks like a lot of people are hitting the under there. Just I don't really get why. Their line is higher than the Dolphins' line at 8.5. So,
we had we talked about it years ago with the Chargers and Anthony Lynn in one possession games.
Yeah,
we had the most one possession games last year.
Yeah. And if that can go the right way, that'll be very.
We lost 65% of them, so I know that's
not terrible.
It's not terrible, but
there's positive regression coming. Hopefully. Anywhere else you want to go with your Vikings? I don't really have a lot. Can they win the division?
Yes, very much so. I do think that we can dethrone the Packers.
Now, do you say that you think the Packers are substantially worse this year?
Not substantially worse. Having a guy like Aaron Rodgers is always going to keep them ready and available. But I think that, we can stay exactly where we are in the consistent path. The Packers are the better team. Do not get me wrong. I am optimistic as a fan, though. The biggest problems that I have with my team are the other moves the GM made with other teams in division. You don't do that. You don't deal with the devil. You don't deal with the enemy. And I don't know why I'm trying to make friends with the guys in the backyard, but we are.
I'm low-key excited for we'll make the transition right here for the Packers. Yeah, I still think the Packers are the key team in this division. I think they're a top 3 team in the conference as a whole.
I did really like the draft.
Aaron Rodgers is still great. They had a lot of picks in the draft. I mean, they did really good with what they had. Smart trade up in the second round though, man. God, such a smart trade up early in the second. Grab yourself a wide receiver. You just gotta love that kind of move,
It's a good move.
Yeah.
The Lions also had a similar one. That was it's
traded up for the Vikings.
Genius, dare I say?
Yeah.
Hate to be the other guys.
Yeah. God. All right.
Fuck.
I don't know. I can't be a host if you're making me laugh.
It sucks, man. Just why do we do that? Why do we do that?
All right. Hey, the Dolphins lost a first and third round.
I was okay with the Lions, so that's like helping up a homeless guy. Like, it's okay. They're due.
You don't help a king.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Christian Watson? I mean,
what are we doing?
Christian Watson, look, hasn't gotten a lot of great buzz in camp, but somebody who has Romeo Doubs, out of Nevada, who's a guy like, I didn't make a lot of draft profiles last year. I kind of fell off after my car accident, and my dog's barking in the background. I'm not going to fix it. I'm sorry, guys.
Good dog.
Yeah, she sees something out there. She hears something. I guarantee it. So Romeo Doubs did. He was one of the few guys I did, and I said, hey, this is my guy. He was my guy throughout camp. Loved him. He was a guy that, like, everyone was saying was like a 6th, 7th round guy, gets drafted in the 4th, so I was pretty happy about that by itself. And then, like, apparently he is just the dude. Aaron Rodgers came out and said something positive about him, which gives me a lot of hope. Like, he's a name that I'll be targeting at a certain point. I think a lot of people know about him. I was high on him,
and I was high on him when it was kind of quiet, and I was so glad. It's not quiet anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's not quiet. No.
I'm one of the many now, but I'm gunning for him. I would really like him.
We all are.
I do think it's I love Aaron Rodgers, man. Mm-hmm. It sucks because I'm supposed to hate that man. Watching him be on the other team for so long, just the hated rival there. But seeing all the interviews he does, seeing the way that he interacts with Pat McAfee and Barstool, he's funny. He's a good personality. Yeah. He can take the jokes. He's very well aware of it. He was talking to a Big Cat on Barstool, and Aaron just straight up said, he was like, how's it feel? Because the other guy's a Bears fan. He said, how's it feel knowing that your Super Bowl is getting to watch me lose in the playoffs? And the other guy straight up said, he was like, no joke, when you lost in the playoffs, I sat in my car for 3 hours and listened to the radio call and say, let's get 12 out of here, let's move on, let's blah, blah, blah. He said, it's great stuff, man. I hate you. And they were just okay with this.
Dude, it was so funny.
It's funny to know that that's how Aaron Rodgers is. He's a good guy.
He is. That the ashwagandha stuff got him in a little bit of trouble. Which
not ashwagandha. This was some wackadoo.
It wasn't ashwagandha. You're right. It was.
I can't think of it. It was a hallucinogenic.
Yeah, but apparently, something that's been around for a lot of years. It's something I remember hearing about years ago and thinking it would be cool to try. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm into weird shit like that. So I don't know.
Right.
I'll never get to because it's in South America. I'm not gonna go to Peru to try this stuff. But he has the means and ability.
He said he had a cultural awakening where he
I
felt what pure love was.
I listened to the whole podcast that he did talking about it and it was really cool, and it was just he was so candid and so genuine about it. Like, it's something that he really believes in and he really loves. regardless, like, no one really cares what anybody's opinion is on that. But, like, if yours is negative towards that kind of stuff, like, okay, so what? Like, his isn't.
Well, and the hard part about it is because you could hear how genuine he was in his voice talking about it. He wasn't trying to be funny. And he wasn't saying you should do this, but he said for him, changed him.
And it was cool just to hear him say, like, yeah, I'm not, and he even said, like, I'm not saying everyone should do this. No, everyone shouldn't. It's a unique experience. But for him, it gave him you know, peace. And this is a guy who's dealt with media and dealt with a lot of bullshit his entire career, and maybe hasn't dealt with it the right way at certain times. I think that's a reason a lot of people don't like him just in the general public, because of like how he's dealt with certain things. But, you know, I appreciate somebody who can kind of look back on that. And he alluded to it in the podcast saying, yeah, I didn't handle certain, like, he tried to kill people with indifference, and it ended up making him the villain almost.
Media
in certain
doesn't
ways.
respond well to that.
Yeah.
But
so
that's what I'm saying, how he's kind of turned that head over heels into a 180.
Yeah.
And now it's fun to look forward to listening to Aaron Rodgers, where at times the media just put him as a douche.
Love his dry. He has that like dry sense of humor, and like I appreciate stuff like that. He is a well-read, smart guy who like has other interests outside of football, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we talked about other players that have that, and you know, Kyler gets the rap because he has its video games. At least, you know, Aaron Rodgers has the book club every week on Tuesday.
Aaron
so
Rodgers'
like
book club and hallucinogenics.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, likes his scotch at the end of the night. Like, I don't know. I've always been a big fan of Aaron Rodgers. Still questions about like, can he win in the playoffs? Like, there's just certain points where it's like, I'd like him to, you know, take over a team in a certain. Obviously, I know he's won the Super Bowl, whatever. The game against the 49ers, it's a game they probably should have won. 49ers could do nothing against their defense, but one bad special teams play by the Packers lost them the game essentially, and Aaron Rodgers wasn't able to overcome that. That kind of put a bad taste in my mouth a little bit, and now he has some stuff to overcome here. Got paid, has some young players to play with. We talked about the wide receivers. They can still be a pretty good run-first football team with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, that 1-2 punch there. What anything else to say, really?
Losing Devontae's going to hurt, though.
Of course.
And Aaron Rodgers does his typical good way of handling it.
Handled it like a pro, I feel.
Yeah, he said, what was it? It was Devontae. So Devontae came out and said, you know, when you go from Hall of Fame quarterback to Hall of Fame quarterback, there's not much of a difference. Mm-hmm. And people were kind of like, wait, he just said Derek Carr's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Yeah. It's his best friend, so he's going to support him. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, being the funny guy he is, said, well, when you go from Hall of Fame wide receiver to Hall of Fame wide receiver, it's how it is, talking about Alan Lazard. Yeah. He's, you know, he'll kind of poke fun at his own guys, but he also asks Lazard to rise to the occasion. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of some of the fantasy outlook.
It is kind of funny that Alan Lazard gets no, like we're all talking about the rookies and the new guys, but Alan Lazard doesn't get any kind of props or anything. Sammy Watkins doesn't
losing
deserve
MVS,
it, you know?
losing all that. Well, the problem is Sammy's going to ball out week one, though.
Yeah, nobody's sitting here saying Sammy should be talked about, but like Alan Lazard, like, I mean, he's been a solid number 2 for years there, or number 2, 3, whatever. Yeah. Like, does he not deserve any kind of like, hey, there's a chance he makes that next step?
Aaron Rodgers went out and found him. He was on the Jaguars practice squad making plays. And somehow he came across the film and said, we need that guy. So they went out and got him, elevated him right away from the practice squad. And it's weird. There's not a lot of quarterbacks out there who do it, but the really, really good ones, Brady's big on this too. When he has a guy who he trusts and who he likes, I'm not saying Alan Lazard is a top tier athletic just beast in the league. Yeah. But if Aaron Rodgers trusts him, I know he's going to throw to.
Yeah. That's a big thing, right? Like having that trust of your quarterback, understanding how a route is ran and how the quarterback likes the route
so many
run.
Other interests.
There's a lot of like little things there that go into it. That a connection is a big thing between wide receiver and quarterback. That's why we talk about it every year.
Talk to me about Aaron Jones drop off. Is it there? Is AJ Dillon coming?
This is a 1-2 punch. AJ Dillon, for me, is ranked right next to Aaron Jones.
But draft-wise, that's not the case.
Yeah, that's why I'll have a lot more A.J. Dillon than Aaron Jones draft stock.
I think A.J.'s 4th and Aaron Jones 2nd.
I'll put it this way. Look, I have A.J. Dillon getting 41% of the rushing yards and Aaron Jones getting 43%. I'm right down the middle. I mean, and then, you know, obviously it breaks down beyond that. But yeah, like that's
hard to draft in that, man. It's hard to draft.
Yeah. Aaron Jones is not a guy that, like, I love his talent, but like, the Packers showed last year they were willing to throw it to Aaron Judge or AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon has done nothing to not deserve those touches. So yeah, it's going to be a 1-2 punch. They're going to both
came on strong at the end of the year.
Absolutely,
too, and that's what's scary.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And at the end of the day, hey, they're both going to preserve their careers and play a couple more years if they're truly a 50-50 backfield. And if the wide receiver core is as bad as some people are saying, hey, maybe this is a true run first football team where Aaron Rodgers comes up big in the big moments like he always does pretty much.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's on back-to-back MVPs where this team still had an identity, not sole identity, but an identity to want to run the football. They were committed to running the football and not saying, Aaron Rodgers, this is your show. It becomes Aaron Rodgers, save us from our show when it doesn't work. And, it kind of sputtered out at the playoffs. But yeah, they're a good defensive team. I think that they have a top 5 corner, maybe top 3 corner in Jair.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Who is an automatic shutdown. It's good football to watch him and Justin Jefferson go at it. They're a good team.
Yeah, the defense it definitely takes a hit losing your guy with the Vikings, but division, though. Yeah, I think it's probably wrapped up in week 16, to be honest with you.
I get that. I think if it's wrapped up in week 16, it's because Kirk just played them in week 15, and we kind of had the same storyline where maybe the Packers are 1 win above us, and it's like the Vikings could get this and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Heard it last year, and we just dropped the ball, so.
So Green Bay Packers win total is 10.5. Oh, wow. The over is juiced huge.
It's a juice, though.
Yeah, the over is juiced to -160. So everyone's taking the over there. The under
they might as well click that to
11.5. Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's a tough line. But that just tells you where we're at. 11 wins. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't. That'd be tough for me. I couldn't bet the under on that. I think 11 wins is very, very attainable. 11, 12 wins.
Yeah, no, I think it is too. I was playing at the division in my head and I already got hurt.
No.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay,
I was like, we lost another one, boys.
It's already gone. Hey,
bring it
game
back
hasn't
in.
Played. So you haven't even seen our first preseason game. You never know.
I don't want to be hopeful. I wasn't last year.
Bro, I'll be honest. Being a Dolphins fan this year is very, very scary for me because it's like the first year in years where I'm like, wait, our whole team is good. Like, if Tua can be the guy, holy crap, we could actually be really good. And I know disappointment's coming. Like, I'm fully prepared, but like, we have so much talent. How could we not be bad?
Yeah.
And then I stay up at night. Like, how are we going to be bad this year? Like, I can't figure it out. I know we're going to be bad, but how?
It's like, this doesn't add up.
Yeah, it's like I've never not been disappointed. What's going to happen? All right, I guess we'll close it out right there. I guess anywhere else you want to go with this division, or are you done?
Skull, I'm excited for it, not going to lie.
Hey, very nice of you to help out the rest of your division mates.
We'll remember this, I know.
Yeah.
Remember this version of Jacob, and then we'll go to week 14.
Yeah.
And see how I'm feeling.
We'll check in with you, absolutely.
We'll check in.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Come back soon. We'll have more videos and stuff. Man, I'm just killing those outros, man. Really, just
doing good.
Solid stuff. All right, thank you so much for watching. Peace.
7.